Welcome to Business Talk here on Business Tech, South Africa's #1 business news website. And it's time to talk about education. And we know South Africa's education system is broken, and we all need to do what we can to try and fix it. One classroom at a time, one child at a time, one school and one university at a time. And a recently published paper by UNESCO shows that education is probably one of the most critical things to get right if you want to escape chronic poverty and also to prevent the transmission of poverty between generations. It really is, it's got this catalytic ability to transform societies. And someone who's made his life's calling unlocking that catalytic transformative potential of education is Dr. Simon Kekana, who's now head of STADIO Centurion Campus, amongst other things in a storied career. Dr. Kekana, welcome. Really good to have you on the show. And
thank you very much.
I mean, you've had an illustrious career in education. You progressed from being a teacher through being a school and university principal to being Deputy Director General in government. What lessons have you learned about the challenges facing South Africa's education sector during this journey?
Yeah, I have learned that our education system has got the following challenges. In the first place, we don't have a philosophy of education that can serve as a foundation on which we teach and we educate our children in this country. If you go to Germany, you go to France, so on and so forth, they will have a philosophy that underpins their educational system. In our country, we have not been able to articulate that kind of a philosophy. Secondly, we have very chronic problems of poor management of education in our country. It does not only begin at school level, but it goes up to the political level. Thirdly, we have not improved the infrastructure of education in our country. I'm sure you have read in newspapers and heard on television, children drowning in pit latrines, and we are not making any effort to ensure that that does not happen anymore. And then again, we have a shortage of professionally trained teachers. It does not help that when the new government came in 1994, they closed down all the colleges of education, and the result is that now we've got a chronic shortage of teachers in our country. I don't want to talk about maths and science, which are terrible as far as South Africa is concerned. We have a big shortage of teachers who can give maths and science in our country. And the other problem is that we introduced a very liberal, I would say, policy to say that corporal punishment must be done away in schools. Yes, it is correct to do away with it because it was not applied properly. But then it has resulted in a lot of indiscipline because we have not taught our children the new form of discipline in our schools. And we don't even have a philosophy of education that we can teach to our children that you must understand, you are in school for this and that reason. And for that reason, therefore, there is a lot of indiscipline. Teachers are under stress. They want to leave schools. And this is a result of the fact that we have not thought out properly how to manage education in our country. The education system in our country is poorly resourced. And for all those reasons, we're not getting it right in our country.
And it's a multifaceted, very complex problem, as you just articulated. But you know, we can't lose hope. We can't lose hope because we're seeing private providers who recognize that all of these challenges also present an opportunity to help improve the situation. And we know we've got a well-known skills shortage, a big issue. Whenever I chat to businesses, they say, Michael, do we have an unemployment crisis or do we have a skills crisis? Because I could employ 10 people tomorrow if they had the right skills. So it's a big issue. How is Stadia focused on bridging this gap?
Here at Stadia, we thought it would be best to have a curriculum that will address the skills that we need in the country in terms of financial management, in terms of human resource management, in terms of project management, so on and so forth. If we can produce people who are properly skilled in those directions, particularly the scarce skills that we've got in our country. And we have realized that many children, learners who pass grade 12 don't pass it with such a strong results, but then we've been able to come up with another program where we can prepare them for graduate work or for diploma work. So we will not, reject them. So it means that we have made sure that we open access to higher education from the lowest level to the highest level in terms of qualifications. And in that way, we believe that we shall be able to contribute to the skills shortage in our country.
Which is a huge mission. Now, we know, and to your earlier point, that also requires teaching capacity. And we aren't only faced with a skills shortage, but a teaching shortage too. We just don't have enough teaching skills. I was chatting to Nick Spall the other day, and he reckons we need to be producing somewhere in the region of 18,000 new teachers every year. How do you think we can solve this challenge?
This challenge can be addressed. As I've said earlier on, it's a disadvantage that government closed down the colleges, because those could be contributing to the increase in the number of teachers in our country. And as I've said also, particularly, this is in terms of maths and science. So at Stadio, what we are doing is we've introduced teacher qualifications. These teacher qualifications are from the basic certificate level up to the graduate level, so that we can be able to contribute to the production of teachers in our country. We interact with the education authorities in our country to find out what are the skills that they need as far as schools are concerned. We associate with them teacher associations in our country, so that they also can make an input into the type of curriculum that we can have as far as the production of teachers are concerned. This is because we believe in the future of the nation. We believe in offering access to higher education in our country. We want everybody to be empowered in our country. And we've got a profound interest in the needs of our students, so that they can be able to have those skills that will enable them to get into the job market, and then we can begin to improve the economy of our country. So we widen access, we bring in the world of work, and then we are student-centered in order to contribute to the increase in the number of teachers that we've got in the country, then open up opportunities for employment, and then contribute to the economic growth in our country.
Absolutely, because on the one hand, what you're doing is creating work opportunities for new teachers, and also ensuring that you're filling that capacity gap so that more learners can develop skills into the future. So it's a triple track, actually, that you're approaching this with. Now, you opened the Centurion Campus of Stadia to students at the start of this year, and following the last couple of years of COVID and everything's been turned on its head, what has the response been like so far?
The response has been overwhelming. You see, it's just that previously, Stadia did not have a building like we have right now here in Centurion. Now people come in personally. We organize school children, those who are in grade 12, to come and participate in our activities here, and that is our recruitment strategy. And then now they apply to be enrolled in our institutions. We've got people calling in because now we've advertised, we're on social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, all these things, and we're there, and then people now are flocking in. We believe that by the end of the year, we shall have quite a congregation of learners that we will admit by the beginning of next year.
And it's all about building that pipeline, feeding the pipeline with youngsters who really want to learn. And it's a vocational thing here as well. You've taken on a new role at Stadia. You really focused here on boosting the student enrollment and accommodating students at this campus. How do you aim to achieve this? And what are some of the things you can share with us about how you've gone about achieving this?
Like I said earlier on, we can achieve to bring in more students if we engage with the different media that we've got in the country. On the other hand, also, in the university, although we're supposed to call ourselves a higher education institution in terms of the laws of the country, in our institution, we've got the specialist recruiters that we have employed. So they sit on the telephone, they go out to the schools, Just last week, some of them were out there in the Northern Cape, where they were able to interact with grade 12 students and then to assist them to fill in the application forms. Some of them just yesterday, they were out there in Mpumalanga. They were interacting with grade 12s. And then next week on Thursday, the 25th of August, we've got 300 grade 12 students who will be coming to visit us out here. Actually, they are coming for extended lessons. So in the process, we're going to assist them to apply to be admitted to our institutions. And, another disadvantage is that I'm speaking about 300. All those 300 don't have emails, which tells us that in the schools that we've got in the country, children don't have access to the internet. So we're going to make it possible when they come next week. Those 300, when they leave here next week, all of them will be having brand new email addresses. All these things, we do them in order that we must be able to open up access and then they can come into the institution.
Yeah, digital inequality is becoming one of the big talking
points. It's a serious problem.
No student should be left behind when it comes to things like having access to the internet and access to pathways to learn online. Now, it sounds like you've set yourself some bold targets here as Stadia, and I'm really disappointed that government has dragged its feet around this naming of Stadia as a university versus a higher learning institution. We really should be a lot more proactive here. But what targets do you and Stadia have for next year and beyond?
Yeah, the target for 2023 is 2,000, but we've got other pipelines. We've got other plans. There are institutions in our country that want to form a partnership with us so that they can bring their students into our organization. I'm not at liberty right now to disclose, because we've still got to discuss and sign MOUs, but provisionally, we are aiming at having 2,000, and hopefully we'll be able to exceed that mark the beginning of next year.
Fantastic. And they say every river begins with a single drop. Well, this one's starting with 2,000. If anyone listening wants to learn more about Stadia Centurion Campus, how do they do this? How do they get hold of you?
They can go to us in various ways. As I've indicated, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, all the social media, we're there. If they've got access to that, then they'll be able to get in touch with us. We're also on the internet where we advertise very generously so that people can know about us. We have got a number that we have advertised in the newspapers, particularly the Sunday papers. We do advertise a lot on them so that people can get to know about us. Our campus here in Centurion is open. Anybody can come in. We've got people who call from all over the country who want to know about us so that they can register with us. So all these are the various mechanisms that we use in order to get in touch with people.
Well, that really is something. And back to that UNESCO research that I mentioned earlier, 1 year of education is associated with a 10% increase in wages. Now, we've got a skills crisis. We've got people looking to earn more. We've got people looking to better their lives. And what better opportunity than going to see what Stadia has to offer the Centurion Campus. Dr. Simon Kekana, thank you very much for sharing all of this info with us here on Business Talk.
Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. Thank you very much. Thank you.